And I think the biggest surprise that many people would point to as we take a look at the standings right here, if you filled out a fantasy bracket or if you went to our ESPN League of Legends Predictor over at espn.com/League of Legends Predictor, free by the way, your bracket may or may not look like this. Probably not, according to the percentages that we're seeing, especially in Group B, Tyler. Hold that LGD. My goodness. 0-2 to start the play-ins. They were number 10, Tyler, in our ESPN Esports power rankings going into Worlds. Why on earth are they struggling so much?
Can I retroactively get Bjergsen to our top 20 list over GA and Peanut? I remember I was laughed at. I was trounced. I was laughed at. I was outnumbered. I put my line in the sand saying Bjergsen's better than these two players. Obviously, Bjergsen's on play-ins, and it's only been 2 games, so you don't want to harp on it too much. But LGD did not travel here. They did not have to quarantine. They didn't have to go through the rigors of everything all these other teams did. The CIS sent 2 teams to Shanghai because they didn't know if the Unicorns of Love would be able to play. Like Gambit was there also. Like all these teams from all these different regions traveled 13 plus hours to get to Shanghai. LGD, they are in their most comfortable form. Didn't have to quarantine. They're all good, practicing their team house, and they look so disjointed. It's not pretty. It's not pretty, Arda. When you usually have these major region teams in the play-ins, a lot of times they don't understand the meta. Sometimes they're behind the meta. They're behind the course of action. That's fine. Maybe they're a bit rusty, having played in, a really serious game in a few weeks. But generally, a few of the players are just mechanically better. They steal victories. I remember Cloud9 versus Den Nation Focus Me from 2 years ago in Korea, 2018. Cloud9 had no business beating DFM, but there was individual moments for players like Jensen and Licorice that stole them those games. LGD's getting outplayed as a team. They look behind on the meta, and individually, they don't look better than anyone else in their group. It's very, very it's a troubling sign if this continues, Arda. It's a very worrying trend, you might say. And I'm not going to, dump the dirt on LGD just yet. It's only been 2 games. We still have another day to go tomorrow. If they lose those 2 games tomorrow, they will be the first team eliminated from Worlds, which would be the most embarrassing moment in world history for a Chinese team, the 4th-seeded Chinese team in Shanghai, who didn't have to travel to a bubble Worlds, being the first team eliminated in playing. But it's so many things to talk about. It was really a dire day for them, where the first day you can maybe write off PSG Talon having that momentum. They played so well. It was so crisp. They played so extremely well. You could just write it off as they got beat by a better team. Today, Rainbow Seven were sloppy. They didn't look like they were totally coordinated. They had so many openings to shut the door on Rainbow Seven, and they kept failing and fumbling the ball. They threw up on themselves and fell backwards and died, Arda. This was not a pleasant death for LGD. This was not a valiant effort. This was a really pitiful performance by LGD. And if they play like this tomorrow, they are going to go 0-4 and out of the tournament. So while I don't want to put the dirt on them yet, because they are very good players, and this team is much better than what they've shown, what they showed today was an embarrassment. And I can see why the Chinese fans right now are very upset.
Chad is agreeing with you on the Bjergsen point, by the way. And,
yes.
And for the record, I did back you on that, and we were just outnumbered or out debated for time posterity. Saronic says, if LGD doesn't make it to groups, please remove from the top 20 and add Bjergsen. I think we will put that to a vote. I believe that at the very least, we should do that.
Retroactively.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you about this. In all of the analysis that I have been watching coming into Worlds, particularly from the LPL casters, Hysterics and Munchables, they put out a series of videos, including about LGD, coming into Worlds, and one thing they kept mentioning was the play of Peanut, and Peanut being the core of the team. If Peanut plays well, the rest of the team plays well, and this is a very jungle-focused meta, Tyler. So how much of these stumbles for LGD falls on a player like Peanut at this time, in your opinion?
It's a lot on his shoulders, right? Where we ranked him top 20 in going into Worlds of GA. It's a jungle-made focused team. They played more slowly than you would usually expect from an LPL team. They were ramping up. It seemed like, okay, they'll be fine. They may not look amazing in the early game versus Rainbow Seven, but come the mid and late game, that's where they really shine. And it was pitiful. Peanut probably had one of the most embarrassing moments of his career. It's a 4v5. The jungler, Jose Didio, from Rainbow Seven, their best player, is down. It's an Ocean Drake that should be 100% theirs, and they fail. He loses a 4v5 battle without the jungler, and somehow, some way, I don't know, I can't even comprehend how this happens. Rainbow Seven gets the Ocean Soul, wipes the team fight, and LGD is they're just discombobulated from that point. In no way or no shape or form should Rainbow Seven ever win that fight. What should have happened is Rainbow Seven takes a 4v5 around a dragon without their jungler. The much better team from the much better region, LGD, laughs at them, says, "You guys are stupid. Why are you taking a 4v5 without your jungler?" And they wipe them. They get the Drake, they secure it, and then they wipe them because it's a 5v4 without their star player. But LGD didn't do that. They lost. And then again, at the Elder Drake, they get down Laza. They get down the AD carry. It's a 4v5 again, and they lose it again. Arda. I want to give credit to Rainbow Seven. They had the cojones. They had the spirit to actually take these fights. I give them all the credit in the world for playing with no care in the world. They were fearless in face of a giant. They knew if they screwed up once, they were going to be laughed at and they're out of the tournament. And they did these reckless plays. Devil may care. Go for it all in, push the chips in. They went for these plays, and I give them credit for it. But LGD has to be better. It was an embarrassment, and I cannot believe they actually let Rainbow Seven win that game. We're going to talk more about LGD as the show goes along, but for right now, I think they'll rebound. In the back of my mind, they're just too good to go down like this. But if LGD goes out in play-ins, it's not going to be a pretty sight. I feel bad for the players because China is ruthless. It doesn't matter if they have 3 other teams. They expect LGD to perform. And after what happened in 2015 with this organization, they just might be cursed. They just might be a cursed organization, Arda.
It might be a world's curse for LGD for sure. Yeah.